Hi everybody, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the astrology for 2024, what's coming up this year of 2024 and what to expect with the astrology, what you might need to know based on your sign, based on degrees in your chart. So if you have some knowledge of astrology, this video is good for that level of understanding if you at least know your chart. But that said, if you only just know a couple of your signs or your sun sign, your rising and moon, you could still watch because you'd still get something out of it. I'm going to talk about some global energies and collective energies as well as personal as well. And there are links below to my website if you'd like to book a reading with me, and my Patreon. Come join us on Patreon. I do a lot of extra exclusive content on Patreon that you don't get on YouTube, and it's much more in depth. So at the moment, I've got a couple of different things. You can join on the tier 1, which is just basic level, but you do get access to a lot of extra videos like pick card readings, more in-depth stuff on astrology. Depends on, what's coming to me, and I just kind of go with the flow. But I also do post some voting polls for you guys to say what you want to see. And then there's also tier 3 and tier 4 available. Now, tier 2 is sold out. Actually, tier 3 is sold out. And so actually it's only tier 1 and tier 4 available. So if you join tier 4, you also get access to tier 1, which is all the general videos that I upload. But tier 4 is for psychic development and learning tarot. So if you're interested in that, check it out. And all my social media links are below. So to get into it for this video, what you need to know. The energies are pretty intense for 2024. Now, I just want to mention one other thing that before we get into this video, there will be a link below this video on Pluto and Aquarius. I am going to talk about it in this video, but it's going to be a bit different. The previous video I did last year goes into, yes, the collective and how that's going to affect society and things of that nature, because Pluto obviously was in Aquarius for a little bit in 2023. But as we go into 2024, Pluto goes more, further into Aquarius, but also spends longer in Aquarius. And 2024 will be the last year of Pluto in Capricorn. I know it's still in Capricorn. It really feels like it should be over by now, but it's still dragging on in Capricorn, but only on that very last degree, that 29 degrees. So if you're born around, or you have any placements, personal placements, around 28, 29 degrees of Capricorn, 0 degrees of Aquarius, or up to 2 degrees of Aquarius, it's a very intense energy you've already been feeling this in 2023. You're going to continue to feel it in 2024. But anyway, I digress. I'm going to share the next slide. Let me see if I can do this because it wasn't working for me exactly how I wanted it to today. Okay, so hopefully you can see the title Pluto transit into Aquarius here, because that's what's supposed to be up. It's about Aquarius, Pluto being Aquarius. So, okay, continuing on. So, yes, big changes. Pluto will be in Aquarius till 2043. I did discuss that in a previous video. I do recommend you look at that video if you want to know for your sign. The link will be below this one. So from January 1st to 21st, Pluto will be still on 29 of Capricorn, like I said before. Once we get to January 22nd of 2024, Pluto will ingress into 0 degrees of Aquarius, and it will be between 0 and 2 degrees of Aquarius during January 22nd to September 1st. Okay, so that's when it really goes into Aquarius with a bit more significance, because it's moving past that 0 degrees. Now, factoring in that it will be on 0 degrees and that we will have that transition over from the end of Capricorn to the beginning of Aquarius this year, it's a very intense time for the world. It's a very intense time for the people of the world, which Aquarius represents the people. And Pluto, as I'm sure many of you are aware, we hear that keyword all the time. It's all about transformation and change. It's gradual transformation and change, but in Aquarius, it kind of makes it feel like it can feel very intense, because it's affecting the collective, because it's affecting the people of the world. And yeah, it's really bringing our awareness to what's going on in the world in a bigger way, humanitarian concerns, things to do with technology, advancements, changes in technology, also the way we communicate. Like I said, I went pretty in depth with this on my other video, so I'll refer you to that if you want to delve a little bit more deeply into changes in society and things like that. But it's definitely a lot to do with technology, a lot to do with the way the world is run. Who runs the world? You know, Pluto is all about power, and Aquarius is the people. So you can put the pieces of the puzzle together right there, pretty straightforward if you analyze it like that. And it's really shaking up the planet, and especially because, you know, we're still in Uranus in Taurus as well, and I'll talk about that soon. Uranus in Taurus continues on until 2026. Uranus is in full in Taurus. A lot of changes to the earth, to land, to the monetary systems, banking, things of that nature. Okay. So then moving on from this, so Pluto, just in terms of the dates, Pluto moves back into Capricorn where it stays from September 2nd to the 19th of November. So that's a few months there where Pluto will be back in Capricorn. So what we could see then when it returns back into Capricorn is this final kind of change to do with the structures of society. Okay. And Capricorn represents big power, people that have been in power for a long time, corporations, also people that are in charge of the world. And so, yeah, there's a lot to go into that whole thing. But if you know, you know, there's really sort of like a changing of the guard is the way that I see it, and the power gradually coming to the people, because Pluto, this is the thing with Pluto, when it first goes into a sign, it's very intense. It can be very heavy. It can be really intimidating. But as it starts to make progress further into that sign, it starts to integrate more with that energy. And, you know, it's almost like it's a bit chaotic at first. It's a bit crazy at first. And this is a bit of a crazy energy, Pluto and Aquarius, I'm not going to lie. People may feel like the world is not the same place it used to be. And that's really going to be felt with Pluto moving further into Aquarius. The world is definitely changing. There's no going back. You know, humanity is evolving. We're evolving. And at first, the changes may be quite intimidating, and quite chaotic, and power struggles will be seen, especially in groups. You know, Aquarius rules groups. And I'm just looking at the dates for so from, just double check, from the 20th of November, then Pluto goes back into Aquarius. 20th of November 2024, Pluto returns back to Aquarius, and then it will stay in Aquarius. There's no more going back into Capricorn after that. So there is something ending this year in 2024 in regards to how power has been traditionally used, or how we've seen certain bodies or groups or governments, or, you know, how they've used power in the world. That is definitely changing, and that I think is ultimately a very good thing. And Pluto eventually will see more and more power go to the people. That's what I think. And, you know, a lot of astrologers are discussing this topic, and you can see what other people talk about, but it's definitely changes to do with how power is used in the world. That's what Pluto is about. So, all right, let's move on, and I'll try and share a new share. Let's see if this is going to work for me. What am I up to? Oh, yep, Saturn. Okay, we're looking at Saturn in Pisces now. So, yes, Saturn continues to be in Pisces like it's been in 2023. And hang on a second. I'm going to move that. Yep, there we go. That's better. There we go. So, Saturn in Pisces. Saturn does also rule government and the structures in society as well. And with Pisces, Pisces is about a dissolving energy. Pisces is water. It's where things are kind of flowing and the boundaries are not very clear. There can be confusion. There can be issues with things related to boating, the oceans of the world. Pisces also rules things like the film industry, Hollywood, glamour, the arts as well. And so those things could be going through some kind of shift. And Saturn will go as far as 19 degrees this year. It doesn't go past that in 2024. So, next year, 2025, it will still be in Pisces for a part of the year. And this year we have Saturn square Jupiter. So that's a tense energy that's going to be active in August through to December. Sorry, August and December, not through to. Just August and December, Saturn will square Jupiter. So those 2 months of 2024 could be tense, and there could be tension between some kind of changes that are trying to be implemented into society. But the thing is, Jupiter will be in Gemini by that time. So Jupiter this year spends half the time part of the time in Taurus, part of the time in Gemini. The problem with Jupiter in Gemini is it's a detriment placement. So there can be a lot of trying to go forward and then backpedaling, or trying to integrate new things into structures of society, but then having to backtrack, or people being confused about, well, are we doing this or are we doing that? And Jupiter in Gemini is about communication, and communication coming in quickly. Saturn in Pisces can be information coming from people in authority, and where that information clashes with that Jupiter and Gemini energy, which is, well, how do we implement this new energy? This is not really clear, or this is confusing, or that's what that Saturn square. And there can be tension in the collective over those months. There are other months of the year where there can be tension in the collective as well, especially April is one of them. But that's different to, it's not to do with Saturn in Pisces, it's just a different energy. But if you've got anything personally in your chart between 15 to 18 degrees, especially of a mutable sign, so Pisces, Virgo, Sagittarius, or Gemini, that Saturn square Jupiter could affect you. You could feel that as some kind of confusion or needing to make adjustments in your reality August and December. So just be aware of that. Like I said, it's mostly for those that have anything around 15 to 18 degrees of a mutable sign. If you're of a certain generation, you could have your Neptune being affected, but I would only factor that in if it's in an angular house as being really significant. Okay, so Saturn retrograde from June 30th to November 15th. So when Saturn is retrograde, obviously that happens, fairly frequently. And that is usually a time to slow down, to find yourself rethinking your work situations, your progress in your life in a big way. So if you want to make a big move or buy a house or do something very significant, change careers, it's not really the time to do it during the Saturn retrograde from June 30th to November 15th. So remember that. Best to wait till after November 15th for any big moves or signing contracts. I know signing contracts is associated with Mercury retrograde, but if it's something like buying a house and you have to sign a contract, that's what I mean, not just any contract. Or if you're going to change careers, or you really make a huge important decision in your life, wait till, if it's after June 30th, wait till after November 15th to do that. So in general, Saturn in Pisces is supportive for Scorpios and Cancerians. Even with a trine aspect from Saturn, though, say if it's your moon, it can still feel a bit of a dampener, to be honest. It's always going to be a bit of a heavy energy. A sextile is better from Saturn. So if you have Taurus or Capricorn placements with Saturn, up to 19 degrees this year. So if you've got anything in Taurus and Capricorn up to 19 degrees, it's going to be a beneficial energy that you receive from Saturn that is going to be giving you stability and a feeling of, okay, whatever chaos is going on, you're still fine. You're still, going, you've still got your routine going. You're still managing things well. So that's good news for Taurus and Capricorns with anything up to 19 degrees this year. Challenging for Pisces, but Pisces people have already been going through challenges, especially those that have anything from 0 up to around 8 degrees, 7 degrees. And it's also challenging for Virgos and Sagittarius. So that will be a square with the transit of Saturn. So to Sagittarius, it will be a square. I forgot to mention Gemini. I forgot to put Gemini on there. Geminis will be affected as well by Saturn in Pisces. That's also a square, and it's an opposition to Virgo. Okay. So this year, if you have anything from 0 to 19 degrees of obviously Pisces, because it's a conjunction, Virgo, opposition, Sagittarius or Gemini, it's a square. Those will be challenging energies for you with Saturn this year. It is a time for you to be cautious. It is a time for you to put the efforts into your life, put the work in, but don't overtax yourself. Don't try to be everything to everybody. You know, you are going to have extra demands on you, those signs, Pisces, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Gemini. You will be challenged to make changes in your life, especially Sagittarius and Gemini, and it will be an adjustment for you. It's not going to be easy, but there's a reason why you have to go through that. It's to help you evolve. It's to give you strength. It's to get you to be more in your personal power ultimately, even though when you're having the transit, it feels the exact opposite of all that. It feels like you're just being hammered by the energy. And Pisces in particular, like I said, you know, those of you with early degrees that already had Saturn conjunct your sun, moon, or rising in Pisces in the last year, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It hasn't been easy. You've been under the pump. You've been trying to do so much. You've had a lot of stress, a lot of demands, a lot of last minute problems and issues and things coming at you. And it's just been a lot. But there is a reward in this. Remember that with Saturn, there is always a karmic reward. So do put the efforts in. Don't let people push you around. You might have to cut people out of your life, Pisces, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Gemini, but it is for a reward for you to find your more authentic self, a path that is more true to you. And yeah, you might have to deal with some heavy energies, but that's part of life as well. So yeah, that's pretty much what I was going to say. Like I said, in the collective, anything to do with those industries that I mentioned, like shipping, boating, anything to do with the ocean, even personally, it's not a time to take a risk in anything to do with water sports, oceans. You know, caution required with Saturn in Pisces. It can be a time when, you know, over the summer periods, different parts of the world, more people drown and things like that, because there is with Saturn in Pisces extra danger related to ocean related, water related activities. Okay. So if you're someone that's having hard aspects to your chart from Saturn, say you're a Pisces or a Virgo or Sagittarius or Gemini, and especially with Neptune in Pisces still, factoring that in as well, if you've got Pisces in your chart, definitely not a time to take risks around the water. Or, you know, if you have kids with those placements, I'd be super cautious. But anyway, that's a side note. But moving on, let's do another share. So let me see how I'm going to do this. Because like I said, it's not been working properly for me today. Usually it just flows in like a slide progression. Okay, let's look at Jupiter. So yeah, Jupiter is in Taurus still. Yay, because I'm a Taurus. It's a really good energy in Taurus. It brings a lot of abundance on the material level. It brings a lot of enjoyment of life. For me, Jupiter's in my 6th house of work, though. So it's brought me a lot of work. It's kept me so busy. I'm just absolutely flat out trying to keep up with everything. So, you know, it depends on what part of your chart it's in. If it's in your 5th house still, lucky you, that's a good house for Jupiter to be in. Depends where it is. But anyway, January 1st to May 25th. So during that time, it will be between 5 and 29 degrees of Taurus. So I've mentioned here on the screen, Virgo and Capricorn will also benefit because you get the trine from Jupiter and Taurus. And that's going to bring you a smoother flow of energy around the things that you're trying to do, especially with work, practicalities, your money, opportunities. So it is a good energy for Taurus. We're having more of big, significant changes, going to another level, things speeding up, more abundance coming in, more prosperity, more financial, more dynamic energy in your finances for Taurus. And definitely can be like work opportunities and advancement and things like that for all the earth signs. And then once we get to May 26, Jupiter moves into Gemini. So this is going to speed up communications. It's going to speed up the way we communicate. There could be changes in that as well, considering Pluto's going into Aquarius. Then we have Jupiter in an air sign from May 26. This is going to, I think, in the collective, bring about some kind of shifts in the way people communicate, like maybe new apps and things like that. Definitely Jupiter and Gemini is like new apps, maybe new developments in social media apps and things like that. That shift the direction of things away from maybe it might shift the direction away from what we've known as being the most popular apps that might change. That said, Jupiter is in detriment in Gemini, so it could be a bit overwhelming. People could feel like the changes with technology and information or IT related stuff is a bit scattering to them. It doesn't feel grounded. It feels like too much too quickly, could be. There could be a lot of communications putting out to the public that are a bit too scattering or leave people a bit overwhelmed or confused as well. I'm just going to sip my water here. Hang on. And if you're a Gemini, this is a big time of change for you, though, in your life. So you're going to be coming out of any stagnant energy, Gemini. So if you're a Gemini and you've been feeling like sun, moon, or rising, and you feel like your life has been kind of stagnant in any way, this is an opportunity once we get to May 26 to, and obviously that's going to be the early degree Gemini people from the first few months. It's going to be a time where you can grow in your life, where you can have a few more adventures. You'll probably want to travel a little bit. Maybe you can go on short distance travel. That's a good way to use this energy. You might feel more restless and you may feel really like more communicative, like maybe it's just not just you wanting to speak, but maybe you've just got a lot of messages, a lot of emails, a lot to deal with, like your phone's constantly being bombarded with messages, or you're making new friends and you're finding it hard to keep up with, or you've got a lot to do and a lot of errands to run and a lot to stay on top of, Gemini. So that could be really intense. It's also a good energy for people with Libra and Aquarius placements with degrees between 0 and 21 this year. So Jupiter in Gemini goes as far as 21 degrees of Gemini in 2024. That's as far as it goes. So if you're an air sign, you will have things flow in your life in a nice way. Things will open up, opportunities will open up, definitely socially as well. And communication wise, there could be new things that just pop up that you get to do that maybe happen a little bit off the cuff too with Jupiter and Gemini. It's like there's not a lot of time to prepare here. It's just like something suggested to you, and it's like, well, do you want the opportunity? Are you gonna take it, or are you just gonna hang back and then refuse the opportunity? Because even if you feel not that prepared, you can adapt as you go, and that could be also the detriment energy here of like with Jupiter in Taurus, first half of the year, January to May 25th. For the earth signs, there's more time to prepare things. Jupiter in Taurus is a bit more slow energy. It's like, okay, I'm going to do this and I've got to prepare this and do that. A bit more methodical. Whereas Jupiter moving to Gemini is like, no, you got to go now, otherwise you lost the opportunity, kind of thing. And just see how you go. And you've got to go on your instinct and trust that with Jupiter moving into Gemini, because it is a quick energy. And like I said, if you're a Libra and Aquarius and you've got 0 to 21, this will be a good thing for you. This will smooth the way for opportunities for you. Gemini, it's going to be a bit more intense. It's going to be like you have to kind of grow now and you can't stay stuck in a rut. You can't sort of overthink to the point that you're just going crazy and not taking any action, because Geminis are prone to that. Overthinking, procrastinating, being between one option and another. Excuse me. So yeah, I think, with the energies the way they are with Pluto in Aquarius and Gemini, with Jupiter going to Gemini, if you don't take action that's authentic to you, it's going to be mentally not very healthy for you. It's going to be mentally, you're going to feel very inauthentic. You're going to be stuck in a rut. You're going to know that things are moving and you're kind of being left behind in some way. And that's not a good energy for your mental health and well-being, because the whole point of being on the earth plane is to grow and evolve. And sure, you can't force things before it's time. But my point is, if you've got those signs, so the earth signs for the first part of the year and the air signs the second part of the year, this is definitely an opportunity for you to grow. this year. If you've got air that's 22 degrees onwards, that's next year for you or the year after in 2025. Okay. So if you've got Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, 22 degrees to 29, you've still got opportunity for growth in 2025. Okay. This is why the degrees are important, because not everyone is affected at the same time. I just saw 111 on my clock. Interesting. Okay. All right. So moving on, let me see. I've got to go to the next slide now, see if I can make this work, because this is so choppy today. That's not working because it's not highlighting. Okay, 1 second, guys. Okay, so we're on to, I'm going to talk about Chiron now. Okay, so Chiron moves into, I'm distracted by something. It doesn't move into anything. It stays in Aries, okay? But it moves up to 23 degrees this year, okay? Why is this important? Chiron is a very important energy, and when it affects you personally, it really has a strong effect. So what to know about this? If you have any placements in Aries in particular, between 15 to 23 degrees, there is going to be an experience that you have this year of having to face some kind of wounding and really looking at how you're going to heal from this. Okay, so these can be triggers that come up or situations that come up that are linked to your past in some way, that require you to face something maybe unpleasant. You know, to start with Chiron, it is the inner wound, the thing that we don't enjoy dealing with, the thing that causes us pain and frustration, and, you know, even anger in the sign of Aries, extreme frustration. So, but the thing is, once we face it, or we have the opportunity to face it when this transit comes up, that's when we can delve into looking at how we're going to heal this issue, and we may feel quite vulnerable in that process. So what I've just said really applies more if you are an Aries sun, moon, or rising, or even Venus or Mars between 15 to 23 degrees, okay? Because this year in 2024, you will experience a very raw feeling on an emotional level, on an experiential level. If it's your Mars, especially more of the experience that you have. If it's your moon, it's more vulnerable, emotional, family. If it's Venus, it's relationships. If it's your sun, it's your purpose and your career. If Chiron is touching anything in your chart in Aries, 15 to 23 degrees, this is very significant this year. There's something for you to face and heal. You may feel more vulnerable and raw, but there is something that you're going to be working through. You might be changing, if it's your sun or your midheaven, you might be changing careers. You may be changing a direction of your life. You may feel like what you were doing before is just not working for you anymore. If it's your Mars, be very careful with that, because it can bring up a lot of anger and reactivity that gets you into trouble. Or say you've got Mars in Aries and you're a female and you got like 23 degrees, just be careful with, you know, anything to do with, actually, you know what, it doesn't even matter in terms of gender at all. It's just, I'm just thinking Mars in Aries, yeah, for women, because I know a couple of women that have that. Okay, let's just say if you have Mars in Aries in general, 15 to 23 degrees, be careful this year of your reactions, okay? Because it could, and you might want to find out, and if you need the help of an astrologer, you can contact me. What, if you've got Mars in Aries or Venus in Aries, find out when, if it's between 15 and 23, when it's going to be over your particular degree. Because that's going to be very, very important to know how to handle that energy. It's a very sensitive energy, very raw. It can really get flared up easily and triggered by other people, especially in relationships or dynamics with others. If you've got a lot of anger built up, you can be your own worst enemy here, and it can really come back on you very heavily. So just be aware. Anyway, if you've got Aries placements and you want to understand this better, feel free to contact me. If you want a reading, you go to my website. I have short readings, short audio recordings that start from around, I think, $55 or $60 off memory. For the other signs, for Aquarius, Leo, Sagittarius, and Gemini, anything between 15 to 23 degrees in those signs in your chart, this is major healing of old issues for you, and some kind of sense of relief from something difficult, or a feeling of healing energetically on your energy body and also your emotions and your mind, depending on what the placement is, especially. But those signs that I just mentioned will experience a healing of old issues and a sense of relief. So those that will be challenged, particularly Aries, like I spent that time discussing, Capricorn, Cancer, and Libra, but only with placements between 15 to 23 degrees. if you've got anything 15, 16 degrees, you've already experienced some of this in 2023. It's not new to you. You've already experienced some kind of challenging energy. So say you've got Venus in Cancer, Venus in Libra, or, any personal planet in those signs, even if you've got Pluto in Libra, if you're a Pluto in Libra generation like myself, if you've got anything 15, 16 degrees, in 2023, you would have experienced that heavy energy around whatever that was. So you've already been there. If you've got that early 15 to 16 degrees, you're finishing that up at the early part of 2024. Okay, so that's good news. You've already been through some of that. But the later degrees haven't. So 18 to 19 degrees onwards haven't. So say 18, 19 to 23 degrees of Aries, Capricorn, Cancer, and Libra will receive challenging aspects from Chiron this year. But it is, the point of it all is, it's not to make you feel hurt. It's to help you to heal what has made you feel hurt. So it's time to look at those issues. It's not trying to hide from that and try to address what is coming up. Speak to somebody, look at ways you can get healing, address issues in whatever realm of your life, that they're coming up, that it's coming up from. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. What I'm up to, done that. I think that's everything. I don't know. I feel like something's missing. No, that's it. And then I'm just going to talk about the Year of the Dragon, which is Chinese astrology, which I often talk about. This I don't always talk about every year, but I usually just touch on it briefly. So if you're born in the Year of the Dragon, like myself, I'm a metal dragon. This is our year, but it can be a bit intense. So we have to be a bit careful of too much intensity. If you're a dragon born, it's also good for snakes and tigers as well. But look, I don't know the rundown on every single one. Go look up your particular sign. So if you know you can Google all this stuff. If you don't know what your Chinese sign is, you can Google that and find out. It's mostly based on the year, but also the months as well. You don't need to do a chart or anything like in astrology, like in Western astrology. But this begins February 10th in 2024. It's a year to follow your true passion and self-determination, to assert yourself authentically in the world, stand up for yourself, bravery, strength, and you will feel a desire to be more self-reliant this year. This is for everybody, by the way, because it is the Year of the Dragon. So these are the energies that are there to be accessed. People can find more success in business this year and more strength of character and strength of will. Patience and determination will be needed to complete what you start. Okay, so the patience and determination to follow through will pay off this year. All right, guys, so that was my presentation for 2024. Just really a quick rundown on the main things. You know what? I just realized I missed a slide. So unfortunately, I've missed this out, so I'm having to tack it on to the end here unless I can work out how to edit it in the spot in the video where it's meant to be. If I don't manage to, it'll be at the end. So I wanted to talk about, of course, Uranus continuing its transit through Taurus. So this year in 2024, Uranus will make a conjunction with Jupiter. So this is a rare conjunction with Uranus and Jupiter in Taurus, and generally speaking, Uranus and Jupiter conjunct once every 13 to 14 years. This is an energy of stimulating awakening in the collective. So this is a big deal. It's interesting it occurs in April because we also have other things happening in April, like a solar eclipse in Aries, which is quite an intense energy. So I think April's also going to be a very intense month, possibly along with August and December with the Saturn Jupiter square. But back to the Uranus Jupiter, if personally speaking, for your chart personally, if you have anything between 19 to 20 degrees of Taurus up to 23, 24, you will feel this as something very powerful, some kind of exciting change potentially, especially with Jupiter involved here. It's likely to be things happening quickly in your life, sudden developments coming out of the blue, some kind of speeding up of energy. It can be, depending what house it is for you, it's going to show up, with the influence of that house. So if this conjunction happens in your fourth house, you could suddenly move home. If it happens in your fifth, you could suddenly meet a new romantic interest that just really comes out of the blue. If it's your sixth house, it could be sudden influx of work or business that just takes you by surprise, and it could be some rare opportunities in there. Uranus and Jupiter conjunction together does bring rare opportunities in Taurus, the sign of material belongings and money, and it's very earthy energy. It could also, in the collective, bring up some unexpected developments in areas to do with banking, money, food, and land issues potentially. So those things could happen. But like I said, with Jupiter involved here, there can be a breakthrough energy with this potentially. So that had to be mentioned because that's a really interesting transit. And then just in general for 2024, Uranus transits between 19 degrees and 27 degrees of Taurus. So if you're a Taurus sun, this is going to be a very strong change in your life. If this is on an angle for you, like your midheaven, your descendant point, your ascendant, or your IC point, this is going to be very strong change. That when Uranus goes over an angle of your chart, it's destined to changes. It's things that happen suddenly that are unexpected. Okay. With Uranus, it's not necessarily positive or negative, though I have to be honest and say, because Uranus is in fall in Taurus, it can go more towards the negative. But then again, Uranus does flip things on its head. So if you've had a negative, prolonged situation in your life, say Uranus is coming to your descendant point, say you've had a prolonged difficulty in a relationship, Uranus crossing that could liberate you from that difficulty. Or Uranus going over your midheaven, for another example, could say you've got a midheaven in Taurus. If you've been trying to go for a goal and you've been struggling with that, around the time it crosses over your midheaven, something could create a breakthrough or a sudden change that really changes everything for you. And again, it can go positive or negative because Uranus is unpredictable like that. If it's your moon, that's your security. That could be, if you've got moon between 19 and 27 degrees of Taurus this year, there could be sudden unexpected shakeups in wherever the part of your chart your moon is. So if it's in your seventh house, your relationships, if it's your 10th house of career, it's your work and your career, or even a commitment or marriage situation. If it's your second house, it could be your money. Something changes significantly with your money situation that's unexpected. So keeping that in mind, but also be aware that Uranus will continue to be through Taurus until 2026. I do have another video that goes more in depth on this that I made when Uranus first went into Taurus a number of years ago now, so you can find that on my channel. I might link it below. So really, if you're a Taurus, you've got a lot of change going in your life. Things may be very up in the air for you. If you've got transiting Uranus through your seventh house of relationships, don't expect to have like really stable relationships this time. It's a time of change, and there might be an element of detachment in your relationships, or people going through big changes, sudden splits, sudden disconnections, or people suddenly appearing in your life. If you've got Leo, Aquarius, or Scorpio, Uranus in Taurus, well, specifically if you have those signs around 19 to 27 degrees of Leo, Aquarius, and Scorpio this year, you'll be affected by, if you're a Leo or Aquarius, the square, or a Scorpio, the opposition. These are challenging energies, so these will bring unexpected developments, or unexpected drama potentially, or just unexpected issues to deal with. So yeah, a bit of caution is warranted with, especially if it's you've got a Leo moon in the fourth house, your home life, like you'd want to be careful with making sure before you leave that everything's turned off, you haven't left a stove on or something random like that, or your windows are locked. Just things in the home could be unpredictable. Things with family members could be unpredictable. And the same with Aquarius. With Scorpio, the opposition, it's still an unpredictable energy, but it's a little bit different. Again, depends on the house. It's helpful for Virgos and Capricorns though. So if you're a Virgo or Capricorn, you'll be blessed by trine aspects from Uranus, which could really help smooth the way forward to liberate you from things that you felt stuck by or stagnant in. It's going to help to release blocks to be able to help you move forward. And you're going to notice that things come out of the blue that give you a bit of a spark, a bit of spark of interest, or a spark of inspiration or energy. And yeah, so that was the last thing I was meant to put this slide before the Year of the Dragon one. But anyway, I will see if I can edit it, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to. But anyway, guys, so that was the 2024 rundown. And look, that's obviously not everything, but those are the things that stood out. Neptune will continue to be in Pisces for the rest of 2024. It goes up to 29 degrees. That's Neptune in Pisces. I didn't have a slide for that because I didn't really. Yeah, it's like still continuing the same transit of Neptune in Pisces, but next year, or the year of 2025, Neptune goes into Aries. So that will be something to discuss when that happens, 2025. If you'd like the help of an astrologer, I have over 20 years experience reading charts, transits, and learning about synastry and all that. I've been practicing for over 10 years. And when I was on Etsy, I had over 500 5-star reviews. I'm now on my own website. So you can order from my website. The links are all below. Have a great year, everyone. And thank you for watching. Bye.